Ladies and gentlemen, in a world full of distractions, temptations, and shortcuts, self-discipline has become the rare superpower that separates success from regret, fulfillment from frustration. It's not a trait you're born with, it's an art you must master, day by day, decision by decision. Self-discipline is the quiet force that pushes you to do what you must, even when you don't feel like it. It's waking up early to pursue your goals. It's saying no to instant gratification so you can say yes to long-term growth. It's choosing progress over comfort, resilience over excuses. People often wait for motivation, but motivation is fleeting. Self-discipline is your backup generator when motivation runs out. The most successful people, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists aren't always the most talented, but they are the most consistent. That consistency is born from discipline. You won't build self-discipline overnight. But every time you resist temptation, every time you follow through on your promises to yourself, you lay another brick in the foundation of your future. Mastering self-discipline means mastering your habits, your emotions, and your mindset. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up, even on the hard days. The road may be tough, but the rewards are extraordinary. Stronger willpower, greater confidence, and the freedom to live life on your terms. So today, I urge you, don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now, build yourself, discipline like a muscle, and soon you'll be capable of things you once thought impossible, because once you master self-discipline, you master your destiny. Many people make the mistake of believing that self-discipline is something you're either born with or you're not. They think it's a natural trait, like eye, color, or height, reserved only for high achievers, elite performers, or unusually driven individuals. But this belief is both misleading and self-defeating. The truth is, self-discipline is not a fixed attribute. It's a skill, just like learning to play an instrument, speak a new language, or drive a car. And like any skill, it can be learned, developed, and strengthened with consistent practice. It's built through repeated choices and daily decisions that align with your higher purpose rather than your passing impulses. Think of it like this. No one starts out with perfect self-control. Even the most disciplined people you admire once struggled to get out of bed on time, to resist junk food, or to stay focused on a long-term goal. What made them different wasn't some secret talent. It was their commitment to improving. They built their self-discipline like a muscle, starting with light reps and gradually increasing the weight. It starts with small wins, waking up when your alarm rings the first time, saying no to unnecessary distractions, completing a task even when you're tired. These small actions are like training reps that condition your mind to follow through, even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. Over time, this habit of showing up and following through becomes part of who you are. There will be setbacks. There will be days when you give in to old habits. But just like falling off a bike doesn't mean you can't ride, a lapse in discipline doesn't define you. What matters is that you keep training your willpower and keep building the habit of control, one decision at a time. When you stop seeing discipline as a mysterious talent and start treating it as a learnable skill, you unlock your ability to grow beyond your current limits. You stop waiting to feel ready and start becoming the kind of person who acts with purpose, no matter what. Motivation is often misunderstood. It's that initial burst of energy you feel when you set a new goal or imagine a better version of yourself. It's powerful, exciting, and necessary, but it's also unpredictable. One day you're fired up to hit the gym or work on your dreams, and the next you can't even find the will to get out of bed. That's the nature of motivation. It's emotional, inconsistent, and fleeting. If you rely solely on motivation to reach your goals, you will fail the moment life gets difficult. Why? because motivation is driven by feelings, and feelings change constantly. Discipline, on the other hand, is built on commitment, not emotion. It's what keeps you moving forward on the days you feel tired, uninspired, or overwhelmed. It's what shows up when motivation disappears. Think of it like the difference between a spark and a fire. Motivation is the spark. It ignites your ambition. But it fades quickly unless you have something to keep it burning. Discipline is the firewood. It provides the steady fuel that keeps your progress alive long after the spark is gone. Real progress is built not on how you feel, but on what you consistently do. Self-discipline teaches you to act regardless of mood, to honor your priorities even when your energy is low, and to commit to your long-term vision instead of chasing short-term pleasure. That's how real transformation happens. Let's face it, there will be days when you're exhausted, when you don't want to show up, when everything in you wants to quit. Those are the days that test your character. And those are the days when discipline, true, earned discipline, becomes your greatest ally. It says, "I don't feel like it, but I'll do it anyway." That mindset is the difference between average and exceptional. So don't chase motivation. Build discipline. Motivation might get you started, but only discipline will carry you to the finish line. We often imagine that success comes from one massive action, one lucky break, or one moment of genius. But the truth is far less glamorous and far more empowering. Success is the result of small, repeated choices made consistently over time. It's not the big decisions that shape your life. It's the tiny ones you make every day when no one is watching. Self-discipline isn't about dramatic gestures. It's about choosing to do the right thing over the easy thing, again and again. It's about waking up 10 minutes earlier to meditate, turning off your phone to focus on your work, choosing water instead of soda, or saying no when distractions knock. These choices may seem minor in the moment, but they compound over time like interest in a savings account. Think of it like building a brick wall. Every small decision is a brick. One brick might not seem like much, but if you lay a brick every single day with intention and care, you will eventually have a strong, unshakable structure. That's how lives are built, not in sudden leaps, but in slow, deliberate progress. The beauty of this truth is that it puts control back in your hands. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You just need to make better decisions one moment at a time. Small actions, when repeated consistently, become habits. And once something becomes a habit, it becomes part of your identity. You no longer have to think about being disciplined. You simply are. On the flip side, small poor choices also compound. Skipping one workout becomes 2, then a week. One lie becomes a pattern. One day of procrastination turns into a month of regret. This is why self-discipline in small things is so powerful. It prevents you from sliding into mediocrity and gradually pulls you toward mastery. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. You may not see the results immediately, but those votes add up. In time, they create a version of you that is focused, resilient, and deeply fulfilled. So never underestimate the power of a small, disciplined choice. It might just be the moment that changes everything. At first glance, the word discipline might sound harsh, like something restrictive or punishing. People often associate it with limitation, sacrifice, or even suffering. But in reality, discipline is not a prison. It is the key to true freedom. Freedom isn't about doing whatever you want, whenever you want. That's impulse. That's chaos. Real freedom, the kind that brings peace, purpose, and power, comes when you are in control of your life, not ruled by your urges, distractions, or emotions. And the only path to that kind of control is discipline. Think about your finances. If you spend recklessly, chasing every short-term pleasure, you end up in debt, trapped by bills, stress, and regret. But if you practice financial discipline, saving, budgeting, and investing, you create a life where you're free to travel, pursue dreams, or retire comfortably. That freedom was built on discipline. The same principle applies to your health. Eating whatever you crave, skipping workouts, and ignoring rest may feel freeing in the moment. But eventually, it costs you your energy, confidence, and well-being. On the other hand, discipline in your diet, exercise, and sleep leads to strength, vitality, and longevity. That's freedom. Even in your career, discipline opens doors. When you show up consistently, put in focused effort, and develop your skills day by day, you earn choices, promotions, business opportunities, time freedom, and the ability to walk away from what doesn't serve you. Without discipline, you're a slave to deadlines, burnout, and missed chances. The most successful people in the world didn't become free by avoiding structure. They created structure to set themselves free. They imposed limits on their time, attention, and behavior not to be confined, but to become unstoppable. Discipline gives you the power to say yes to what truly matters and no to what doesn't. It shields you from chaos and hands you the keys to clarity, focus, and purpose. So when you feel like discipline is robbing you of freedom, remember this: the greatest kind of freedom is self-mastery, and discipline is how you earn it. We live in a world that often glorifies natural talent. We admire athletes with extraordinary genetics, singers with golden voices, or entrepreneurs who seem to succeed effortlessly. But when you dig deeper, you'll discover that talent alone is never enough. What separates the average from the exceptional is not how gifted someone is, it's how consistent they are. Consistency is the quiet engine behind every form of greatness. It's the daily grind, the unglamorous repetition, the hours of practice when no one is watching. Talented people might start strong, but consistent people finish strong. They show up even when it's hard, especially when it's boring, and absolutely when no one claps. The truth is, talent can give you a head start, but consistency determines how far you go. A naturally gifted individual who doesn't train will eventually fall behind a consistent learner who shows up every day, putting in the work, improving inch by inch. Success doesn't come from doing something once. It comes from doing the right thing again and again. Think about world-class athletes, best-selling authors, or masterful musicians. What makes them great isn't just talent, it's their refusal to quit. They've built routines, they've endured setbacks, they've embraced the process, not just the outcome. Their greatness is a result of thousands of consistent efforts layered on top of each other over years. Consistency also builds trust, not just from others, but with yourself. Every time you follow through, you prove to yourself that you're reliable. That self-trust becomes the foundation for confidence, and confidence fuels even greater performance. It becomes a loop. The more consistent you are, the more you believe in yourself, and the more unstoppable you become. So don't worry if you're not the most talented in the room. Talent may open the door, but consistency walks you through it. Keep showing up. Keep doing the work day after day. That's the secret. At the core of self-discipline lies emotional control, the ability to act based on your values and long-term goals rather than being ruled by your feelings in the moment. If you want to master self-discipline, you must first learn to master your emotions and impulses, because it is these internal reactions that most often derail our progress. Emotions are powerful. They can inspire, uplift, and drive action, but they can also mislead, distract, and sabotage. When you're angry, you might say things you regret. When you're stressed, you might seek comfort in bad habits. When you're bored, you might scroll endlessly instead of focusing on what matters. Discipline means recognizing those emotional urges and choosing not to be controlled by them. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It means acknowledging them, understanding them, and choosing your response deliberately rather than reacting automatically. That's real strength, not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of it. Impulses work the same way. Every day, you're faced with temptations that promise instant pleasure at the cost of long-term growth. Junk food, social media, procrastination, gossip, shortcuts. Your mind craves what is easy and comfortable, not what is meaningful and difficult. Self-discipline teaches you to pause, reflect, and ask, does this serve my future or just satisfy my present mood? When you build the habit of pausing before reacting, before reaching for your phone, skipping your workout, or making an emotional decision, you create a space for wisdom. In that space, discipline grows. You take back control of your behavior. You stop being a prisoner of impulse and become a conscious creator of your life. The people who rise above challenges, achieve lasting success, and live with integrity are not those who never feel tempted. They're those who feel it, but act in alignment with their goals anyway. They've trained their minds to obey their purpose, not their passing emotions. So if you want to strengthen your self-discipline, start by observing your emotional triggers. Practice emotional awareness. Train your mind to delay gratification. That's how you turn short-term urges into long-term power. One of the greatest lies we tell ourselves is, I'll start tomorrow. We wait for the right mood, the perfect moment, or the ideal conditions before we take action. But that moment rarely comes, and every time we delay, we reinforce the habit of procrastination, the enemy of self-discipline. The truth is, there will never be a perfect time. Life is messy. You'll always be busy, tired, stressed, or distracted by something. If you keep waiting for ideal circumstances, you'll spend your entire life preparing to change without ever actually doing it. Self-discipline is born in the present. It begins when you take control now, not next Monday, not after the holidays, not when things calm down. Every moment you delay is a missed opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more focused. The longer you wait, the deeper your excuses grow. The harder it becomes to begin. Think of every day as a brick. You can either lay a brick toward the life you want, or you can toss it aside and leave your foundation incomplete. Starting now, even with one small action, is more powerful than planning the perfect routine and never beginning. Read one page, take one step, say no to one distraction. Momentum doesn't come from thinking, it comes from moving. When you start today, you begin training your brain to take ownership. You begin to silence the voice of fear and indecision. You replace hesitation with action. That builds confidence, which fuels even greater discipline. You won't be perfect. You will stumble. But starting now gives you something tomorrow never will: progress. And even the smallest progress can be the spark that ignites massive transformation over time. So don't wait for permission. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for someday. Start now, even if it's messy, even if it's small. Start, and let that decision change the direction of your life.